Welcome to the newsroom on CNN Philippines. In the news, authorities arrest the mother of Maute brothers Omar and Abdullah, who are behind the terrorist attack on Marawi City. This comes days after the arrest of her husband in Davao City. The PNP orders the immediate relief of security on duty at Resorts World Manila when the deadly attack happened on June 2. And this week, CNN hero, a man from Detroit, taps his entire life savings, opening a program for troubled youth and help turn their lives around. Good evening, I'm Maute Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us. We start with the latest on the Maute group. Authorities arrest the mother of Omar and Abdullah Maute, who are behind the terrorist attack on Marawi City. Our senior correspondent, David Santos, is in Marawi to give us the details. David, what does this arrest mean for the terror group?
Well, another big blow to the Maute group, which is holding out against an intense government offensive in Marawi for almost 3 weeks now. That's how authorities are seeing the arrest on Friday night of one of the brains behind the terror group. Ominta Romato Maute, alias Farhana, was arrested past 7 Friday evening in a safe house in the town of Mashu, about 35 kilometers by land travel from Marawi. She's the mother of brothers Omar and Abdullah Maute, leaders of the notorious terror group. At least 15 others were arrested along with Farhana, most of them women. Among them, her 3 daughters, identified as Hiba, Hapsa, and Hamida Maute. Government operatives also confiscated an M14 rifle, 4 rifle grenades, and 2 improvised RPG ammunition. Farhana was reportedly in Mashu town to purchase vehicles and firearms as part of their plan to get out of Lanao del Sur when members of a police unit caught up with them.
The arrest of Farhana has a great involvement of the local government. So the local government helped us to locate.
Farhana's arrest comes just days after the family patriarch Kayamora Maute was arrested at a checkpoint in Davao City. He was transferred to Camp Bagong Diwa in Taguig City.
Historically, the parents, especially the Farhana, provides logistical, financial, and she has the links to international organizations.
There were a number of attempts in the past to capture Farhana, including a raid in her home in Marawi City last year, but she evaded arrest until Friday night. And just like Kayamora Maute, we've been told Farhana was transported to Manila at dawn today on board a military plane. The Joint Task Force Marawi says it will be providing more details on the arrest of Farhana Maute in a media briefing on Sunday. Mike.
David, what charges are Farhana Maute and company facing, and why was there a need to immediately transfer her to Manila?
Well, both Kayamora and Farhana Maute are part of a long list of suspected terrorists the Defense Department once arrested under its martial law powers. Now, these are about 300 people linked to terror activities and are largely blamed for the crisis in Marawi. Now, the arrest order to have been issued so far cover the Mautes, the Abu Sayyaf group, the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, among many others. Now, President Duterte, during a visit to a military camp in Tacurong City earlier this week, revealed there was an attempt for Farhana Maute to speak to him, but the president turned it down since he felt strongly against the atrocities of the Mautes, particularly over the deaths of soldiers, policemen, as well as civilians in Marawi. Now, the security situation in Marawi remains very unstable, having Farhana Maute and the rest of her family detained in a government facility in Marawi could only further complicate the situation in the city. The Mautes have twice attacked the Marawi City jail, so authorities apparently saw the need to immediately transfer Farhana to a, quote, safer place, Mike.
Senior correspondent David Santos reporting live from Marawi. The armed forces aims to regain the whole of Marawi City from terrorists on Independence Day. But ahead of this new timetable, the government suffers more losses in an intense operation. 13 Marines were killed yesterday, including a young lieutenant who led a team in recovering over 79 million pesos in cash and checks in Marawi. George Cahiles has that story.
Emergency military vehicles rushing in and out of Camp Pranao in Marawi in what could have been the most intense firefight at the city center. 13 Marines were killed while 40 were wounded after almost a whole day of clashes. A young lieutenant sent off from Villamor Air Base on June 1. He's coming home, but it will be the saddest of all homecomings. Among those killed, First Lieutenant Frederick Sabellano. He was the Marine team leader when troops recovered 52 million pesos in cash and 27 million pesos worth of checks in a house previously occupied by Maute fighters.
They have in place several IEDs, several B-40s and RPGs. So that was the intense firefight that transpired yesterday. Kailangan nating mag-reassess, kailangan nating pag-aralan uli yung move natin, yung actions natin towards these critical elements doon sa battlefield.
These two Marine officers were in the front lines. They asked to withhold their identities for security. They say terrorists are heavily armed and strategically positioned at the city center.
Nagbubutas lang sila ng semento, tapos din nila abangan yung tropa. Tapos occupied nila mga siyempre matataas na building. Hindi mo rin sila pwedeng lapitan kasi taas sila. Tapos try mong buksan yung pinto, hindi rin mabuksan.
They lost some of their men during encounters, mostly from sniper fire and rocket-propelled grenade blasts. They say terrorists are using mosques as fighting positions and civilians as human shields.
Delikado talaga kasi very accurate yung mga snipers, rifles nila. So kahit ganun pa man, kahit malakas yung resistance nila, hindi yun yung nagadlang sa atin para matakot tayo doon. So actually mas motivated tayo.
Despite losing some men, the military claims the terrorists suffered heavily. The offensive is relentless, regaining enemy possessions one step at a time, towards liberating the war-torn city. From Marawi City, George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
As government forces lost some men, the military is validating information. They killed brothers Omar and Madi Maute, who are leading terrorists in the Marawi siege.
There are reports that Omar and Madi were killed in the operations. We are still validating this report, but there are strong indications that they are killed. Those, okay. Also,
when exactly, sir, was
in a separate incidents, separate firefight.
The intense firefight between government forces and Maute fighters is forcing some Marawi residents to relocate to Manila. Some are now staying with their relatives in Quiapo. Manila Golden Mosque Administrator Haji Mali says they're checking the condition of the evacuees. Booths have also been set up for donations. Military data show nearly 48,000 families left their homes in Marawi. President Duterte says he will follow the Supreme Court's decision on petitions challenging his proclamation of martial law in Mindanao. The court received several petitions challenging the proclamation and scheduled oral arguments on June 13th to 15th. During a visit to soldiers in a camp in Sultan Kudarat, Maguindanao yesterday, the president made it clear he will abide by the decision, but also hinted of consequences in case the offensive against terrorists is called off and terrorists regain ground.
It's up to the Supreme Court. Pag sabi na sa Supreme Court na okay, hindi okay, de withdraw tayo. Sabi ko sa masundalo, withdraw tayo. Kasi sabi ng Supreme Court na kung magbalik yung mga ISIS doon, bahala ng Supreme Court dyan mag-appreciate.
The Supreme Court received 3 petitions related to the martial law proclamation. The House minority bloc filed a petition questioning the basis of martial law, while 2 others are asking the court to compel Congress to convene a joint session and discuss the proclamation. Petitioners include former Senators Rene Sagisag and Wigberto Tañada and former Human Rights Chair Eta Rosales. The scourge of terror outside Marawi claims another soldier, a fallen defender during clashes with the Abu Sayyaf in Sulu, is laid to rest. Our Isabella Montano has this story.
A gloomy, rainy day at the libingan ng mga bayani, where another fallen soldier is given honorary funeral rites for his bravery. First Lieutenant Raulito Tagoon was killed on June 2nd at the hand of an Abu Sayyaf sniper in Sulu. His wife Mary Joy is distraught. She is now alone, tending to 6 children, and she is also pregnant with Tagoon's 7th child.
Expected ko na rin na posibleng mangyari sa kanya yung ganito. Yun nga lang, malungkot kasi medyo maaga. Alam kong marami pa siyang pangarap sa mga anak ko.
Tagoon was the eldest of 3 brothers, all serving in the military. His younger brother Mauricio is a Marine corporal. He was fighting in Marawi when his brother died. He recalls being disturbed at the time his brother was killed.
Bago na disgrasya yung kuya ko, ma'am, hindi ako makatulog. Hindi ko alam bakit ano nangyari kaya sa akin, sabi ko. Sabi ng kasama ko, ma'am, wala yan, matulog ka na dyan. Tapos kinabukasan, tumawag yung isang kapatid ko. Ganito, may nangyari sa kuya natin.
Martina Tagoon says it is hard to be the mother of 3 military men, always worrying about them. But on the upside, she says, they are living their dream. I'm just happy that he was able to live his life up to now in the name of his dream. He may be dead, but he died doing good for the country. Tagoon's eldest daughter watches as her father's casket is lowered underground. She holds on to his hat with big tears in her eyes. Yet another Filipino family deprived of a good father, a good son, a good husband. Isabella Montano, CNN Philippines.
Still ahead, police investigating the casino tragedy at Resorts World Manila decides on the fate of the hotel security agency. And condolences pour in for the family of award-winning artist Malang Santos, who died today. Those and more stories when Newsroom Weekend returns. Good evening to our viewers on FB Live. Thank you for joining us. It's hard to recover from that story of Isabella Montano, and just today a big loss for the government as they announced 13 more soldiers, 13 Marines killed in the latest operation, yesterday's firefights in Marawi City, still in efforts to regain control of the Islamic city and hopefully raise the Philippine flag against the black flags raised by the Maute group and the ISIS flags raised by the Maute group in that city. Hopefully the military says they will regain control on Independence Day on Monday. Still ahead, more stories. But before that, we'd like to say hi to our viewers from all over our kababayans in South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Hong Kong, Singapore, Texas, Jobert Las Piñas, Estanislao, watching us from Bahrain, Escherson Kaliwan from Dubai, Ceciline Elixes from Taiwan, and Fatima Sandron, also watching us from India, Yurilin Plana Corrales, joining us now from Japan, and Len Mabutol Miranda from the United Arab Emirates. Good evening to you guys. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. We'd like to hear more from you and send in your comments and thoughts on our stories today, and also tell us where you're watching from. More stories coming up. This week's CNN Hero, an interesting story, really churning the lives of troubled youth in Detroit. Stay tuned for that story of our CNN Hero this week. This is Newsroom Weekend on CNN Philippines. Welcome back. The police orders Resorts World Manila to relieve all guards on duty during the attack at the casino. They are from the hotel's hired security group, NC Lanting Security, at the entrance and exit of Maxim's Hotel and Newport Mall. This after the police unit supervising private security and investigation agencies looked into the casino tragedy that led to the death of 37 guests and employees and the gunman Jesse Carlos, who killed himself. There were a number of lapses on the part of the security agency. The police investigation showed only one unarmed female guard manned the second-level parking entrance where the attacker entered. The lady guard was also not wearing a proper uniform and thus is prohibited from carrying a firearm.
So for the security agencies, so with that we will just find out yung administrative sanction nila, yung payment of fines, or will it lead to the cancellation of their LTO? And we will come up with the resolution. We are just awaiting lahat ng kanila mga affidavit. So definitely, yun ang mga doon, yung sabi nga, the resort will really face lawsuit kasi sila na nga eh. So if they follow yung security requirements namin sa PMP, so one way or another, we could prevent this.
Heads up, motorists' new implementing rules of the Anti-Distracted Driving Act are out. Here's what you need to know. Cell phones may be used for navigation while driving as long as these are placed 4 inches from the edge of the dashboard. Texting, calling, playing games, watching videos, and surfing the net are banned. If you need to type your destination on navigation apps, you must pull over. The Land Transportation Office also clarifies dash cams are not covered by the law, only communication gadgets. The Anti-Distracted Driving Act takes effect 15 days after its publication in major newspapers. Now that the rainy season has kicked in, road safety gets top priority. And the country's longest-running motorist assistance program is again at work for motorists this long weekend. Rex Remitio tells us more.
Law student Ronaldo Shoco and his schoolmates are spending their extended weekend in Pampanga. They want to make the best on their last road trip before hitting the brakes with the onset of rains. This time, he's making sure past troubles with his car won't happen again.
Yeah, I was bringing my old car and it stopped in the middle of EDSA, so I know the hassle it brings.
That's why he dropped by at the Petron Lakbay Alalay station along the North Luzon Expressway. He had his car check, the aircon, engine, oil, and other parts.
It's very important, especially if you're riding with someone else, like your friends, because technically you'll be responsible for their lives. So I think you have to check the wheels, your engine is very well-tuned, and you have your brakes, so it's very important.
Lakbay Alalay tents also offer other activities and services. Miss Universe 2016 candidates Miss Vietnam, Kosovo, and Belize even returned to the country to serve as road safety ambassadors.
I have some gifts for you. Be sure to wear your seatbelt.
Because we believe na yung road safety ay concern ng lahat, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, pati ng buong mundo.
They also joined some motorists in experiencing the seatbelt crash simulator. Played some interactive games while knowing more about responsible driving and car maintenance. And had a hard time walking straight while trying out the Fatal Vision anti-drunk driving goggles. There's also free medical assistance.
Kung meron po kayong mga kailangan, mag-drop by lang po sila rito sa aming Petron Station para po matulungan po namin kayo at maibigay po namin sa inyo yung mga kailangan nyo serbisyo.
Lakbay Alalay tents are up in 18 stations on major cities nationwide. Rex Remitio, CNN Philippines.
Still ahead, Miss Universe 2015 Pia Wurtzbach teaches fellow beauty queens Pinoy street sports at its finest. And condolences pour in for the family of award-winning artist Malang Santos, who died today. Those and more stories when Newsroom Weekend returns. To give back to the people. You're live on Facebook. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. Well, looking forward to that story about Pia Wurtzbach teaching her fellow beauty queens how to play piko. And what else? Tumbang Preso, I think. They try to play those street games. Looking forward to that story also coming up. The story of our CNN hero really inspiring. He, I think, he tapped his entire life savings and put up a boxing gym and essentially a youth program to help underprivileged youth and help turn their lives around. He said education is key. So let's see how his program is working in Detroit, USA. We'd like to say hi to our viewers, Lelian Cinco, watching us from Kuwait, Maria Esperanza de Soyo from the UAE, Amy Pineda from Greece, Precious Bautista Flores from Hong Kong, Serafika Florida, or Florida. Or are you watching us from Florida? In any case, good evening to you. And or South Korea, sorry. And Lilibeth Liguden, watching us from Singapore, Leonardo Zambrano in Texas, USA, and Lynn Razonable from Qatar. Thank you for watching us live on Facebook right now. And I hope you still tune in. We have 4 more stories coming up. Also, the latest on the NBA. I'm sure you know the Cavs are still alive. They stick around to fight another day. I think Game 2 is on Tuesday for the much-awaited Game 5. Thank you for joining us again. Send in your thoughts, your comments on our show today, and also tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. Do also follow us on our website for more information and news updates. Big stories today. I hope you tuned in. Of course, sad news. 13 Marines were killed in the latest operation against the Maute group in Marawi City. And the AFP says they're going to have a press conference again tomorrow to give us an update on how those operations are going. The newsroom's back with more stories. Award-winning Filipino artist Mauro Malang Santos has died. He was 89 years old. His son Soler posted a photo of him on Instagram, and netizens expressed their condolences to the family. Malang received several recognitions, among them Artist of the Year by the Society of Philippine Illustrators and Cartoonists. He also worked with renowned Filipino artists like Cubist illustrator Vicente Manansala to open Gallery 7, the first art gallery in Makati City. 7 Miss Universe 2016 candidates get lessons from Miss Universe 2015 Pia Wurtzbach. Not lessons on poise and beauty, but more on playing Filipino street games like Piko, Sipa, and Tumbang Preso. Children from Smoky Mountain joined them at a charity event sponsored by San Miguel Foundation as part of its 45th anniversary. Beauty queens from around the world flew to Manila to grace the foundation's awarding of 45 scholarships to children from Hope for Change, a non-government organization focused on sponsoring the education of poor students. San Miguel Foundation partnered with the Miss Universe organization to provide beauty queens a platform to give back to the people. Wurtzbach says the presence of Miss Universe contestants shows beauty queens are not just confidently beautiful, but also have a heart for helping others.
I really appreciate that the girls took the time to fly back to Manila to participate in this event, and for San Miguel to spearhead all of this and make sure that it all goes smoothly. The girls were asked to if they could participate here, and they said yes right away, and I think that says a lot about where their hearts are really are, and that they're really genuine.
Callie Sweeney from Detroit grew up without positive role models or a good education, but he fought to turn his life around and help children in similar situations. 10 years ago, he used his life savings to open the downtown boxing gym youth program. That makes Sweeney this week's CNN hero.
My house is that one right there that's still standing. That's the house I came to when I was 6 weeks old. That's where my parents dropped me off at. I always wondered, where was my real family at? So I found that family that I was looking for in the streets. I've been shot at multiple times. I had a guy, he shot 26 rounds at the car. It was a reason that he didn't hit me. It was for me to be here for these kids. If you spend enough time with kids, you'll find out that they're going through the same thing that I was going through. No mentors, no positive role models. You put them in a prime position to be ready for prison or the county morgue. Catch my jacket. I've been there, for real. So when they hear it from me, they're like, okay, he's not sugarcoating it.
Keep your hands above his. Let's go.
Boxing teaches you to block out all the outside noises.
Off the jab. Double that, triple it. He don't know what to do.
In life, I tell guys, if you listen to all the outside noises, you'll never reach your goal.
That was it. There you go.
It's actually an academic program as well.
Are we going for the title today? All right, cool. So what homework do you have today?
Books before boxing has always been basically the motto here.
Do you have your math ready? Okay, let's get started on it.
We hold our kids at the same standard with counterparts in the suburbs anywhere around the world. The stuff that we're doing here is the stuff that should be given to everyone. When I first met Jordan, I didn't see the kid that everybody else saw. I don't see bad kids. I see a kid who haven't been heard yet.
You get in the ring?
If I haven't found Kali, I think I'll be dead or in jail.
You doing like this, opening up too wide. Your timing is immaculate. You got him. Just keep working. Let's go.
He's a savior.
Hey, don't hesitate. Just do it.
He taught me how to be a man, basically.
There you go. That's all you got to do is just do it, Jordan. Just do it.
What's good, man? Throughout my life looking for that family,
Ain't right.
they have become my family.
Books before boxing. That's what's happening in the newsroom this Saturday, June 10th. I'm Maute. Stay with CNN Philippines, where